Hey everyone, this is your host, Brian, and welcome to episode 27. Today's topic, Stone Faces. It's the Russian competition show where contestants slap each other's opponents in the face to achieve total victory. We're raising funds to send Pat over to represent your favorite podcast. Find out about how you can financially support us, help Pat train, and more on this week's episode of the Pause Button Podcast.
Yeah, what?
I don't know how to follow up with that.
I know, I wasn't sure what to say. I think, trying to gauge how well Pat would do in that, I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, okay is probably about the best we could say for me.
You'd be better than that guy who wears the colored contacts, who looks all freaky and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a good intimidation strategy.
Not really. I
don't know.
I feel like I see that guy and I say he's a punk ass bitch.
I think Joey wants to go instead.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You've been training? Having people slap you?
No.
I mean, I did recently ask Joey if he wanted to go take kickboxing classes with me.
He did, yeah.
Ah.
Granted, when Corona's over with.
You can't
that
really
was a given.
Socially distanced
Yes.
kickbox.
Yeah, I know.
I decided, regardless of the virus, I would decline.
What? Oh. You didn't give me that answer in person. Fuck.
I thought I'm pretty sure I did.
No, you didn't. You
So
said,
he
let me
doesn't-
think about
I'm not
it.
gonna go kickbox anybody. Do I look like the kind of guy who does that?
I mean, you could.
But how else are you going to deal with people in the crowd when you go to comedy shows and do stand-up?
You just beat the crap out of him?
Wait, why are you doing stand-up now? What, Joey, what do you do?
What am I? I haven't done anything. I don't know where this comes from. Why is comedy clubs where people break out and fight?
Yeah.
Anyway, like
Because you were trying to learn improv. Look, it all comes full circle. A lot of conversations happen at work between me and Joe.
All I'm saying is Joey, the kickboxing stand-up comedian, has a nice ring to it. Like in the middle of your set, some guy runs up and you like get him in a chokehold and like kick his ass, and then like you keep going with your jokes. Oh,
that sounds.
It has
awful.
the fans on the edge of their seat. No.
Could you imagine a Netflix special like that? I would never want to see. I'd feel like this guy's an asshole. It sounds like Joe Rogan or something.
I was going more for like Cannibal Buress, just like insane comedy kind of.
Shots fired, though.
I don't even listen to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, don't beat me up, please.
Joe Rogan, if you're listening, Fear Factor wasn't that good.
If I'm gonna like anything about Joe Rogan, I'm gonna like Fear Factor.
Yeah, no. He just made a lot of people eat fucking weird bugs.
And jump
He's a
off like
freak.
cliffs and stuff. Do we want to introduce ourselves? Do we feel like...
Yeah.
Do we? Is it a given now? I don't know.
Who's here?
Hey, I'm Pat, the Sunshine Goober.
And that's why it's a given. That's why it's a given. It's the sunshine of my week, getting to hear what Pat is.
I'm really glad I supply that for you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am Tom the Tech Man.
Graduated
No fanciness
manhood.
here. I'm a straight shooter when it comes to information.
Some would say you had your tech mitzvah. And you become a tech man now.
Yeah, now that he's not a tech guy.
Yeah.
Feel like that's culturally insensitive, but
Definitely not.
I think it's okay.
It's definitely okay to make a bar mitzvah joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, what?
That's pretty low. Like,
you can say what you want. You don't get to decide how I feel.
But you
it's
said
fair.
you feel like that's culturally insensitive.
Yeah.
You're not part of that culture.
I am offended for you.
You went,
Maybe-
I know you went to a Catholic high school.
Maybe he's offended on behalf of tech people.
I have family who are Jewish. I've been to a bar mitzvah.
It's true. I have never been to a bar mitzvah. I don't even think I know anyone that's Jewish.
Joey, do you have a name this week you gotta do?
Yeah, I am the Spaghetti Scout.
Oh, I like
Hey.
that.
I had spaghetti for dinner last night. Wait, no, that was
Nice.
3 nights ago. Wow. Not even close to last night.
What
Not
day
even
is it?
close.
Even close.
Joey,
The Rona
I
is
had-
taken
I had-
as mine.
I had midnight Taco Bell for dinner last night.
that's very different.
Yeah, cost me like
That's a
$8.
spicy meatball.
Now, Joey, as a spaghetti scout, do you get like little pasta badges?
Yes.
What's your newest one?
My newest one is gnocchi throwing. I don't know. Shut up, Brian.
You need some improv classes, Joe. You need some improv classes. You should have done like a
I never got
strainer.
to take them.
You should have gotten like a strainer one, like for like dumping the water out. You know,
Yeah.
maybe I need. I think
Oh, like-
maybe we both need improv classes. That wasn't very funny either.
Something with like not burning yourself.
Right? Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Now, don't you wish you could just roundhouse kick Brian?
No.
It would work. I would just roundhouse kick my computer.
You're a non-violent podcast, sir.
Speak for yourself,
Devontae.
unlike me, for the Jewish community.
Devontae,
All right. Yeah, I'm Devontae. I'm the retro guy.
that you are. And would you qualify the things we're going to talk about today as retro, just out of curiosity?
Oh yeah, I guess because it's PlayStation. I would consider PlayStation 2 pretty retro at this point.
It's like retro goes up to at least the 90s now.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always associated retro with 8-bit, but that's
8-bit,
fair.
16-bit, and now Pixagon bit. I call it.
Pixagon. That's a good word for it. It's a good word for it. And I'm your humble host on Lake Michigan's coast, the skilled talker on his way to a gilded Oscar, an excellent podcaster, and all-around master, your friendly neighborhood host, Brian.
Brian.
I feel so out of place with everyone else's short names.
It's like we bring it up all the time now, and you still won't shorten.
You refuse.
It's set, but like for now, I feel like I'll just continually change it forever.
That
It'll
it's
never
not
be.
set. That's not what. Do you know what set means?
Pat, time is an illusion, you know. Like your house is set, but one day they're gonna knock it down, you know.
Okay, that's a conversation left for a Christopher Nolan podcast.
Don't make me
all right?
sad.
We're not going to discuss time.
All right, let's
I
talk
like my
about.
house.
Brian is the ghost.
Let's talk about bracket for debate. It's time to go into our current debate. We're on week 5, the 5th time we're talking about this. We had 16 movies, and we've put them up against each other in terms of their soundtrack. And now we are getting pretty close to a winner. We have our Elite 8. We got Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, Wayne's World, Into the Spider-Verse, Space Jam, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Goodfellas, and Blues Brothers. And we're going to be debating these matchups, and oh boy, are they... There's some tough ones in here. It's no longer Batman Forever versus Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was a fucking throwaway.
Hey, every NCAA like March Madness starts off with 1 versus 16, and sometimes there's an upset, but you never
That's
know.
all right. Space Jam's about to get its ass kicked.
Yeah, it is. So
Accurate.
let's get into it. Starting off with what I believe is the northeast corner, we have. Oh, I gotta get my timer ready so I know what we're doing here. That's a calculator. I always do that. Okay, there we go. Scott Pilgrim versus Goodfellas. Go.
I'm gonna go with Scott Pilgrim. You know, just a super fun soundtrack, and I like soundtracks that make me feel like I'm having fun. And it complements. Both soundtracks complement their movie very well, but ultimately, the Scott Pilgrim one has stood out for me and been one that I remember very well.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Beck's like really good garage rock writing. Like that's not always his music, but when he wants to do it, it just sounds like something that like your cousin's shitty band wrote, you know, but in a good way. Like Garbage Truck, that's a great song.
It's true. It is a good song. I'm sorry. What was the other one? What was not Scott Pilgrim?
Good,
That's basically how
Here
this
you
is
Not a
going.
good sign for Goodfellas. Yikes.
Well, I just couldn't hear you over Pat.
Oh, okay. It's got the like the ending of Layla at the end of the movie there.
Yeah, it's Scott Pilgrim. All right.
Yeah. Now,
I'm going to go with
ooh,
Goodfellas.
contrarian
Because
over
I
here.
want to be different. And as the spaghetti scout, I have to go with something that's a little bit more mobster and Italian. So that's what I'm going with.
You're just biased because I made you watch Scott Pilgrim 8,000 times.
Yeah, I kind of have to go against Scott Pilgrim just based on my own principles. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it again. I used to like it, not as much
He's
anymore.
doing this for a badge. It's the hipster badge.
I feel like
You're the same as Brian saying Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie.
I said that
Guys,
on a
please,
recorded
if
podcast.
Goodfellas doesn't win, I won't get into the Italian mob, please.
Oh, I don't want to, man. You can't get out.
But if I don't get in, I die.
True.
Oh, well,
I know too
you
much.
got 5 seconds to convince us. 3, 2, 1, and Joey's dead. All right.
Yep.
Wait,
Scott Pilgrim.
you said 5 and then started with 3.
It went really fast. As I said, 5
This
seconds.
man
Seconds was 4.
He just could have counted.
No, I had the
Instead, he
timer
went.
going
It
on my
started.
phone.
Why? You just could have counted to 5.
Because I'm not
Well-
counting 120 seconds here as we debate. It's 2 minutes. I
Next
hold us to it.
episode, my nickname will be the Cavatapi Corpse. Devontae, what's your opinion?
There's
Scott
Pro.
Pilgrim.
There we go. There we go. All right. So Scott
Funny
Pilgrim
because I
wins
just watched Scott Pilgrim yesterday.
4-1. I just listened to the soundtrack on vinyl. It's so good. All right. The next one, which I believe is in the southwest corner, is Blues Brothers versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm really confused on this one. It took a long time. I really had to think.
Confused or
It-
conflicted?
Conflicted. What is Blues Brothers?
Yeah, I was looking. Huh?
Why Guardians?
I'm gonna
Blues Brothers for me.
I'm gonna go Blues Brothers as well. I think both have amazing soundtracks. It's very close actually, but I'm gonna
Right?
go Blues Brothers.
I feel like more of the scenes stand out in Blues Brothers because of the music than they do in Guardians.
That's what made me think. Like, just song-wise, it's really hard, and I don't know if I can compare the two. But like, Guardians uses the music pretty well. The Change U's really great. I love the Brandy scene, but every single scene of Blues Brothers soundtrack, you know, Shake a Tail Feather with Ray Charles, Minnie the Moocher with Cab Calloway and all that, Sweet Home Chicago, like that's like the definitive recording of it. Like every single song is used perfectly.
It's true.
I'll go Blues Brothers as well.
Oh shit.
Devontae, you want to be contrarian here, or?
Yeah, I'm going to say Guardians.
Damn.
Just because I feel like trying to compare it to Blues Brothers isn't really fair because Blues Brothers is basically a musical to almost an extent. So, like, they have to implement the music into the movie. Whereas, like, you know, Guardians, like, it's more of, like, I guess, background music in Guardians that kind of fits the scene more than, like, here's this musical number that, you know, is a part of the movie.
That's a fair point. They don't really have song and dance numbers in Guardians.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to
But
it.
I also like Guardians, you know, the genre a little bit more than Blues Brothers. So.
Yeah.
What do you mean they don't have a dance number? What is the dance off if not a dance?
There's no music. It's not song and
Still a
dance with
dance?
no song.
The song's in your heart, Brian. The
now,
song's in your heart.
I am really happy at how this worked out. Well, before we get to that, it did win 4-1. Blues Brothers goes on. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is unfortunately not moving on. But I'm very happy at how this random thing worked out because I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 more than 1, and I get a lot of flack for that. But we got to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 versus Wayne's World.
Huh.
It's
That one I'd probably go Guardians.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Guardians as well. I like Wayne's World soundtrack, and it's used in a pretty fun way. You know, you get the Foxy Lady scene. I really enjoy their ballroom blitz bit, but I think overall I'm gonna have to go with Guardians 1, which was like the first big standout in the MCU, and has an incredibly fun opening scene.
It's true. It's true.
But speaking of opening scenes, though, isn't like the Wayne's World use of Bohemian Rhapsody one of like the best opening music like
It
uses?
is. Actually, I would probably say that's a better opening scene than Guardians. But overall, I still think Guardians takes it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm playing devil's advocate.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little biased because Garth just freaks me out.
What?
Really? Dana
Yeah,
Carvey?
he's just weird. I don't know. I would not be comfortable seeing that man in person.
Devontae, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with Guardians as well.
No, I meant about Dana Carvey.
Oh.
Joey, did you say?
No, but I'll do Guardians too.
Alright.
We'll get a sweep.
Yeah. Guardians wins 5-0. With 30 seconds still left to go. All right. I mean, I guess we technically have to do it. But Spider-Verse versus Space Jam.
That's not even a question.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Just take
Rest in peace.
take an image of Miles Morales dunking on Michael Jordan.
Dude. Just the use of What's Up Danger at the end when he gets his suit and like the glass flies off the building as he does like that backflip.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But like throughout the movie, it's just filled with fantastic use of all of its music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever used the music from the trailer, which is the song that I really liked.
What was the one in the trailer?
It's a song called Home or whatever by Vincent something or other.
I thought
But,
they didn't. Is that the song they used when it, can we spoil it?
Yeah, it's been out for like
Just
2
making sure.
years.
Is that the
It's like 2 years old.
is that the song they used when his uncle dies, when the Prowler dies, and he gets all sad?
His uncle died?
Fuck you.
No, it's not.
Can you believe we're only a minute into this debate?
It does feel like a long
We don't need to go on.
No.
So we have our final four. We're going to have, the way this is going to be set up is it'll be Scott Pilgrim versus Blues Brothers in the east side of the bracket, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 versus Spider-Verse on the west side for our final four.
East? I thought you said West.
It's our East versus West Bowl. So we're going to do the final four in the championship, and our next episode, the Harry Potter conclusion episode and all that. So you'll
Well, you
have
can't
to...
say that. Tom's got to make up something at the end.
Oh, I mean, you could just like edit that out, right? Our
I won't, but sure.
All right. No, it's pretty clear it's next. But anyway, all right, don't miss it. You want to see that then. But for now, welcome to the Pause Button Podcast. Every other week, your four favorite hosts, Pat, Joey, Devontae, and me, along with Tom the Tech Man, will take a topic, delve into its past, discuss its present, and debate its dazzling future. And we'll do our darndest to entertain you along the way. You can expect surprising facts, funny jokes, deeply depressing monologues, and of course, unrelated witty banter. So whether you're watching a movie or playing a video game, sit down, shut up, and open your ears. It's time to hit pause. Today's topic?
It's still weird to me that you say now it's time to hit pause. Anyway.
Nope, we're not doing that.
It's still weird.
Today's topic is Resident Evil, the game franchise.
Yay.
Some spooky stuff. Joey's excited.
Woohoo.
Yeah, that's some excitement
I am
right there.
excited about this.
No, I mean, I am.
Yeah, seriously.
This is the first time we're doing
I'm
one.
sitting in my pajamas. So. I'm comfy. I don't want to move.
This is the first one we're doing that I don't know much about. I had to do some research and all that. Did you know it's called Biohazard in Japan? It's
Yes.
Yes.
It's not called Resident Evil.
No.
Correct.
That's why.
That's cool.
And like the 7 is called Biohazard in America too.
Yeah,
Oh.
brought it back.
Wow.
Look at
I
that.
kind of like that name a little bit better. I don't know.
It probably works a little bit better for like the
Yeah, it
actual
definitely does.
topic, like
Yeah.
what it gets into and what causes all the problems.
We wouldn't have the.
They really wanted to drive home residential evil, just in your neighborhood.
We need that like the '90s intro guy, just Resident Evil, where it's like as cheesy as
Yeah.
can be. Like you need that. Wouldn't have the
And you
same
press
ring.
start and it blasts your ears. Yeah.
Fucking deafens you. Yeah.
It's like the THX thing for video games.
Don't worry. They made up for it in 4 when they had the guy blind.
All right, so we're gonna get into the all the entries and all that. But as I was looking into it, there are like two big guys that kind of like created it at the start. One of the guys, Takuro Fujiwara, went on to do like Mad World and Mega Man and stuff. But this guy named Shinji Mikami, he's done like Devil Cry and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney and stuff. And he's doing something with that future Ghostwire Tokyo game. But I was really surprised that he originally wasn't going to join. He really didn't he hates being scared. So he's like, I don't know, man. And then the other dude, the Fujiwara guy, was just like, well, if you get scared, then I want you on the project. He said people who aren't afraid of anything don't understand what's frightening. So in my view, you can't make a horror game if you don't have any fear.
I kind of like that. That's a good perspective.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
take.
And it worked because the franchise has sold over 98 million copies. It's big.
Now let me ask you this:
Uh-huh.
Are you scared of this game?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna get into that because I did watch some stuff, but let's. Anything you guys want to say about the franchise as a whole before we get into the games?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I was gonna say overall, like the series is pretty great in my opinion. Like I think if you just play the base games, I would say it's a pretty good series. But if you get to like some of the spin-offs, I don't know. They didn't perfect spin-offs.
Didn't work out.
Raccoon
No.
City.
Yeah, Operation Raccoon City or like the Dark Side Chronicles. Like, what's going on?
Why would you name a city after an animal? I don't know. I'm trying to imagine that in like any other context, and it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, why do sports teams have animals as mascots?
Because they're cute. and you
A
can
bear
get
can't
behind
throw a
it.
football. What?
Let's not debate. I think I could train a bear too.
So,
All right, so
you know,
so Resident Evil 1, which I was surprised. A lot of people say it created the survival horror genre. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
would say so.
But
Yeah.
that-
'Cause there was nothing before that. Because Silent
mean-
Hill came after Resident Evil.
I mean, Oregon Trail is pretty terrifying. Fucking getting dysentery, but otherwise, no.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a genre that it was only a matter of time before it popped up in video games, especially with the developing graphics, and we had moved away from 8-bit, so now we could actually get scared by our games. But yeah, Resident Evil did it first.
Now it's funny you say that because did you know the first one started off as a remake of a old 8-bit game?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That I did not know.
It was a 1989 game called Sweet Home that was made by Fujiwara.
Sweet Home Alabama.
It was based on a movie set in Alabama with the band Leonard Skinner. But there's like ghosts and stuff in there. Apparently, it's terrifying. But then as development went on, they started to be like, you know what? No ghosts. Let's just do zombies.
Good choice.
But it's
Yeah,
in a
that
mansion.
probably
you know.
panned out better for them.
What if it was all just based off Pac-Man?
Different colored ghosts, and you look down at yourself. You don't have feet. You're just a giant mouth.
Dude, what if Mr. X in the game is just fucking Pac-Man?
And you're the pill.
You can make a mod for that, probably.
I mean, I know they made him the goose, but
Devonta, you played the first one, right?
I did.
What was that game like?
So, I get a little to the backstory for it. It's just basically a backstory for all Resident Evil, because, story doesn't change, but things get worse. It starts off with, you can play as either Chris or Jill, or Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, which are STARS members, which is like, basically a SWAT team for Raccoon City. They basically go to a mansion, I think it's called Spencer's Mansion, where there has been like cases that the Raccoon Police Department couldn't solve, basically like murders and like animal attack cases, and Raccoon Police Department was like, nah bro, we're not going here, it's creepy, so they send in STARS. And it turns out that spoiler alert, STARS was actually hired by Umbrella, which is the big baddies who created the secret bioweapons that spread across the whole United States, which result in the rest of the games. So they go to this mansion, they investigate, they find out that STARS was hired by Umbrella. It brings in the main protagonist, or one of the main protagonists other than the Umbrella Corporation, which is Wesker, who appears to be on your team in the first game, but he was actually hired by Umbrella just to get the information from the, I think, because Umbrella Corporation, I think, is underneath the mansion in the first game, if I believe. I haven't played it in a while.
it is.
Yeah, so it's like literally in the basement of the mansion. And Wesker is sent with STARS to go get all the information because, they've been compromised. And then the, T-virus, I think, is in this game, gets released throughout the whole United States, which causes, the rest of the games to happen.
See, you just did
I think. Well, hold on. I think he wasn't mentioned, but the fucking goat of the first game, Barry Burton, is also
Barry.
joined.
Yeah.
This man saves your ass so many times.
It depends, because sometimes, like, this game can be unforgiving almost, because you have a time limit for like after certain cutscenes happen, depending on what character you play. Because I think Barry is really with Jill, and then I think Chris has Rebecca. Because you can play as the two.
I think. I don't remember Rebecca all too well. So
Yeah, Rebecca is a partner for like Chris if you choose as Chris story, and then you get Barry if you play as Jill, which most people played as Jill because Jill was cooler at the time. But gameplay wise, I think like we talked about a little bit earlier, that it's kind of like revolutionized survival horror games when they kind of made it uncomfortable because there was a fixed camera throughout like all of the hallways and stuff. And it was third person, so like you couldn't like look around the corner to see if there was a zombie there because of the fixed camera. So you're just walking down a hallway and your character becomes less visible. You have to hope that there's not a zombie or like a zombie dog around the corner, which I think is really cool.
Game development wise was genius because then they didn't have to render make the hallway move. It's just a picture.
A lot of actually, a lot of games at that time use fixed cameras, like you said. Like it's just a picture that the character's moving in. You see it in a lot of it was really big in like to JRPGs of the time when you just move through like a picture and then you get to like a certain spot. Like for instance, like Final Fantasy VII, like when it's like kind of a fixed picture and you're just moving around the picture to get to the next area. But they use it in a way when it was like a diagonal camera and stuff is happening at the same time, which I think was really cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think those click and point mystery games also kind of lend themselves to that.
Oh yeah, same kind of thing. It's an element of the time. Now it went on to 2 and 3, which we'll talk a little bit about later because they got remade recently. And then there were like the side kind of like Code Veronica thing, and they did 0, which I tried looking up. It starts off with a train getting attacked by a swarm of leeches. That's kind of where I left it. I was like, all right, I don't know what that means, but then they remade the first one, and then they put out 4, which is a big game. It's been on like every system since, and in a year where Kingdom Hearts 2 and Shadow of the Colossus came out, it got Game of the Year at the Spike Game Awards and Game Informer. So it's a pretty important big game.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as me, like Resident Evil 4 is definitely one of my favorite games that I've ever played, and that's a pretty big statement from me just because I don't play a lot of games. And it's one of the few, which says a lot about me too and how bad I am at video games. It's one of the few that I've beaten because I just kept at it. Like other games I just get tired of, but this game, that game.
Yeah, like Resident Evil 4 is cool because I think this is the first time they introduced cults and on top of the virus infecting everybody. Because this is the game you have to save the president's daughter. For some reason, got kidnapped and sent to Spain, which whatever. But it was like
the story's a
like
little
after Leon gets hired because he was one of the few survivors of STARS from the Raccoon City incident of 2 and 3. Well, I guess 1, 2, and 3. So he gets hired by the the president of the United States to go save his daughter. But I think this was so impactful and why it was so popular because I think this showed that Capcom can, continue to show that they can make Resident Evil games without the fixed camera. Because this is the first one that was full third person, and you weren't, fixed to where you can look. You can kind of roam around the whole map.
Yeah, I honestly, the fixed camera I felt lent itself to like jump scares more or less, with going around corners and stuff. Whereas this one, it really hones in on like claustrophobia and you being alone.
Now, would you say that because the fixed camera went away, that could be why, we'll get into it, the series kind of starts to fade away from horror for a little bit and be more action?
No, I don't think so, because Resident Evil 4 definitely has a lot of jump scares and like people jumping out of fire and, creepy looking people bugs and stuff like that. So I think the fixed camera definitely helps keep the suspense of like I don't know around this corner versus like in 4 when you could be like Leon and just change your camera to look around the corner. But most of the time, like, stuff doesn't show up until you hit a certain area. Like, you might see, like, a zombie in the background, be like, oh, he's kind of far away, and then you start walking down the hall, and then one jumps out of a cabinet. Like, they did get a job to keep the horror, at least in this game, you know, as much as the first 3.
I get you. So with all these changes, you know, I kind of looked into the development of it, and there were like 4 different times they tried to make this game. And the first time, they wanted it to be stylish and a cool action game. You would be a guy named Tony with like superhuman abilities that was like really smart. Yeah, you're laughing, right? And then they went to Europe to take pictures of Gothic architecture, and then all of a sudden the story got rewritten, Tony became Dante, and it became Devil May Cry.
Good.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just like,
Interesting.
That blew my mind. I was like, wait, what? It kind of sounds like it was hijacked for a little bit, like cool action with like Gothic
it's
stuff.
like,
It's
you
not,
have your fun.
Okay, you do your thing. You go off there. The second one was a fog version that people call it. It got 40% done before they canned it. It was set in a mansion, and like Leon apparently gets like the virus, and like his hand can do like cool abilities. It's in his left hand, so kind of sounds almost like BioShock, where he's got like a gun and like a left hand that does like ability stuff. But that didn't happen. Then there was.
That also just sounds like another Devil May Cry game. Because that was a game where he had a mystical hand.
Then they did the Hookman version. That's what people call it. Where it was in like a haunted building, and you had a bio-organic weapon, which is a word used a lot in this, a dog. So this dog is a bio-weapon, and he goes with Leon, and you fight like dolls that are possessed and ghosts and like some hook dude, and there's hallucinations, that stuff kind of comes up later. We'll talk about that much later on. But in this iteration, they did have like the laser pointer with the gun and the over-the-shoulder look and like QuickTime events and all that. And that kind of led to the fourth one, which was the generic zombie version that got scrapped pretty quickly. And then they finally made this one. So
that's kind of cool because I didn't know. At least the second one, when you said Leon got injected with the virus, they kind of kept that in the storyline for it because Leon gets captured at the beginning of the game, and they inject him with the virus. So that's pretty cool that they decided to scrap the superpowers part because that would have been awful. But it's cool that they kept that idea.
And then the other thing that I looked up was like the influence of this game. It was just like over-the-shoulder affected Gears in the Batman games. It's been called like the most important third-person shooter ever. Naughty Dog says it was the inspiration or an inspiration for The Last of Us. The Dead Space developers completely scrapped their game after they played it. It influenced BioShock, God of War. Like, it's insane how much this thing changed.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's pretty crazy. I would recommend it. Like,
I really want to play it.
It definitely has some jump scares and just like a part in the game where you're like, I don't want to play this because I think you go to a sewer area, which is the worst part of the game. Not because it's a bad game, but bad part, but it's because the creepy bug people I was telling you about. They're like humanoid, like roaches.
Wait,
yes,
whoa.
in the sewers. It's the worst part of the game. I struggle playing that.
I'm not playing this.
I struggle playing that part. Yeah,
I'm not playing this. What?
They're really gross.
Roach
they can,
people?
Like, one-shot you. It's terrible.
They don't look like the people in Futurama, like Leela's parents.
No.
Also,
All right.
Why were those people down there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
To be creepy. All right. I feel like we can skip over the fifth one a little bit. Things got kind of actiony.
Whoa.
Apparently
first implemented multiplayer.
Okay.
It's true.
And Sheva. And Chris gets jacked out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, co-op
Yes.
and all that. So, yeah, let's talk about the story. As I'm looking this up, I was like, the CEO of Umbrella wants to cleanse the earth and make it a new paradise that he can rule over. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And there's like, how many different viruses are in this universe? They're like, he made one virus by taking the T virus and combine it with this other thing.
It gets pretty complicated.
But why do they all seem to do the same thing?
Yeah, right?
And we think we had it bad.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take Rona over that. Absolutely.
That's why you just call it the T virus. You just spread it to the rest of the world at this point. That's what you're really doing.
Just be like, it's strain 1, 2, 3, but it's still the T virus. Whatever.
So, are we good to go on to the next one? Because there's some
Chris
stuff to talk about.
punches a boulder. All right, this cannot be.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he punches a boulder to get it out of his way. All right, and it is rolling at max speed towards him.
Yeah, so in a volcano. But like Resident Evil 5 is kind of important because it brings back Wesker, who kind of escapes in the first game. And this is when Wesker finally comes back in the game because you're like, all right, what was he doing this whole time? You know, he's basically, been working for Umbrella, and now he becomes OP because he injected himself with the virus and he becomes like Matrix. Like, you can't shoot him, he can alter time and all this shit.
He wears a lot of leather.
Yeah, he wears a lot of leather. He did that, I guess not too much, but he still has signature sunglasses.
It's true.
But you finally get revenge on Wesker in this game. Spoiler alert, but he basically injects himself too much with the virus, becomes this big-ass monster, and you shoot him with the RPG, and somehow that kills him. Because RPGs in Resident Evil are the token for final bosses.
Exactly.
Hearing about the story of like this universe was probably my favorite thing as I was looking all this up. This world is insane.
It's crazy.
Great.
It's like, what? I can't even follow it all.
Hold on. One thing to mention, though. I love in the first game, you start off with having to fight like giant crocodiles or spiders or sharks and all this other shit. That really doesn't come back, I feel like.
Yeah, you don't see as many animals.
Like giant animals.
Yeah. I think 4 was the last one when you had the giant crocodile.
Yeah.
And this one, yeah, it's mainly people.
And I wonder if PETA had something to do with that. That's all.
PETA? Okay.
I highly doubt that. I'm fairly certain PETA was getting no, like, I don't think Capcom cared about PETA.
Maybe it was just
I'll be honest.
Big backlash against roach people.
No input. No input.
all I wanted to say.
So
I think they just wanted to deal with monsters and not animals.
So, as Devontae was saying, the story just gets crazier. In the 6th one, came out in 2012, the president gets infected with another virus called the C virus. Can someone explain this game in the best way possible? What is Resident Evil 6?
Yes,
Correct.
it is a clusterfuck.
Bad ideas.
And it's like they wanted to put everything in one game. It was like, oh, we want to have the original Resident Evil, which was Leon, I think Helena. Yeah, Helena.
Yeah, I think it's Helena.
Yeah, Helena.
I think that's her name.
It was great. That part was great. I was like,
solid.
This is like Resident Evil 4. This is like awesome. And then you get to Chris when it's like Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's like a first-person shooter.
Now, so I looked into this, of course. You guys want to hear what the whole thought process behind that?
Yeah.
All right, so one of the game's producers, Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, I'm trying my best with these names, told IGN that the original main goal was to be the ultimate horror entertainment. That was their goal.
Oof.
And then a couple months later, in March of 2012, in a Eurogame article, that said the survival horror market is too small for Resident Evil. Capcom has admitted. That's why the series has and will continue to branch out into the action-oriented areas. Resident Evil producer told Gamasutra. So they didn't.
Big mistake.
They stopped after that.
They learned their damn lesson.
I wonder if the game director for 6 was just like, oh, I fucked up. And
So I got a quote here. Hiroyuki Kobayashi was the executive producer, and in a PS blog post, he said, the way I always think of it is that Resident Evil represents a child, then the fans and us as creators are the two parents. The resulting games are like children that are born between both of us, and just like real parents, you're not always going to agree what is best for raising that child. And he talks about how like they try to keep their ear to the ground, but they also try to do something that's fresh and challenging. We do listen to the fans, but can't be beholden to them at every turn, or I don't think we'll ever make progress in terms of the series development, is what he said. Do you forgive him?
No. Yeah, he more or less made it impossible to continue with that storyline, which leads into the next game.
Like they could have just fleshed out Leon's campaign and then scrapped the other two, just made Chris and Jake like characters in Leon's campaign, and it would have been a great game.
So Leon's is not the one with the zombies wielding AK-47.
Right, yeah. His was like the slow turning zombies and jump scares, and you trying to find, cures for the new virus and everything.
Also, fuck Jake. All right, that is a terrible.
He should
character.
exist. He should not exist. Like, who would bang Wesker, bro? Like, why does Wesker have a kid?
Such a
I think
garbage character.
I might have read something about why they created Jake. I might be confusing with somebody else.
Because
I
they
think
killed
it had to do
Wesker,
with
and
the-
I'm sure they wanted like a character that later down the road they're like, oh, we could just turn him evil and have Wesker in the storyline. But I'm sure that was a thought.
Is it fair to say this Jake guy was an influence of Call of Duty being so successful?
Okay, well, see, they tried to. So Jake's campaign was worse than Chris's because they tried to merge Chris and Leon's story together. So, like, when you're playing Jake's campaign, you're like, all right, this seems like a spooky area. And, like, you have, like, the zombies that are like, oh, this is scary. They're, like, reaching in on me and I don't have that much ammo. But then all of a sudden they pick up an AK-47. At least in, like, Chris's, they already have it. like, they're already shooting at you. This one is like, well, we want to put them both together. And it's like, what are you doing? Like,
And there is an awful section in the game where you are trying to sneak around like this ogre titan looking thing on ice, and it takes like fucking like 10 minutes to get through this area.
it's, what a bad campaign.
It's something else.
Such garbage.
But
All
this
right.
did introduce the BSAA, I think, was Biosecurity Alliance or something.
I read something
Terrorism.
about that.
Think so.
Is what Chris
It's-
joins after Stars, which is basically, Stars' predecessor.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll get into where things go after 6 in a second. But first, the true and false with a PH segment we've got prepared for today. Are you guys ready to take your guess at knowledge with this series?
Hit me with it.
All right. I
Sure.
didn't know these answers until I looked them up, but I think they're pretty fun. So while they are kind of trash, the film franchise for Resident Evil is the highest-selling video game franchise, even above Pokemon and Tomb Raider.
True.
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 That is true. They are the most highest-selling game movies, unfortunately.
Yep.
They also have a lot of movies, though.
Yeah, I think there's 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
They made a
Yeah.
lot. So, going back to the whole Biohazard thing, Capcom needed to rename Resident Evil at Home in Japan because while there is a Japanese word for resident, they do not have a word to describe evil.
Weird. What?
Huh.
There's
True
no
or-
Japanese word for evil?
True or false?
True.
Oh, no, false.
Oh.
I'm going to say true.
False.
I forgot what we were doing.
yeah, me too.
False.
Yeah, no, I made that
Damn.
up. I'm sure they have a word for evil.
Okay, good.
Man, that
Man,
man
I
is
was
the
like,
opposite
huh?
of good. Like,
Just call everybody Onis.
I was like, I've definitely read manga that translated the word evil.
so there was a copyright in America for Biohazard. There was another game, and also there's a punk band from New York. I listened to them. They don't sound good. They were kind of like the precursor to nu metal, like rap rock with metal. It's bad. But yeah, Biohazard was taken. Then there were originally plans to include Dead Rising and the Resident Evil universe because they're both made by Capcom. But after the backlash of Resident Evil 6, they thought it was too action heavy and scrapped their plans, and that's how we got 7.
Good.
Good, because they're totally two different games.
I'm going to say true.
I will
Yeah.
say true
True
as well, because it seemed like they would do that.
Yeah. I'll say false to be different.
There you go. Joey got it. I made that up.
Oh.
What? Oh
Okay.
shit.
Yeah. Look at me. I pulled a sneaky on you.
I
All
wouldn't
right.
even doubt it.
Is this why 6 was so bad?
They made bad choices. Yeah. All right, one more. All right, so being around for 24 years has its perks. Some have credited Resident Evil with revitalizing the pop culture craze of zombies, and directors like Edgar Wright even claim it influenced them in their craft.
True.
False.
True.
Yep, you guys mostly right. Resident Evil 2 influenced Shaun of the Dead. Resident Evil 1 influenced 28 Days Later. And then, of course, you can say the Resident Evil films went on to, like Zombieland, Left 4 Dead, World Wars, all that, the Warm Bodies, Abe Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Such a
All
good
that.
movie.
I-
such a B movie.
But yeah, that's our fast for a PH segment there. Thought it'd be fun to know some of that stuff. But so the franchise went on and they changed things up. So you can't talk about 7 without talking about the trailer at E3 in 2016. Remember when E3 was around? The good old days?
GG REP.
Dude, have you
it's
seen-
okay without it.
Have you seen people react to those trailers? That trailer that was there?
No.
No.
Oh, dude, it's I got a video. I'm gonna put in like the description and everything. It's so good. It just starts off playing like this like Go Tell Aunt Rhodey that everybody's dead kind of song, and it's all creepy as shit. And you're like, what is going? And then it's just like boom, Resident Evil, and everyone's like, wait, what? And they all lost their. Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
It was like, yeah, they're going back to where they go. The last game had 4 storylines on a global scale about saving the world, and now they're like, you're first person. Your wife that's supposed to be dead has apparently come back, and you're gonna go inside this one house in Louisiana. Go ahead. And it's like, wait, that's where we're going? And man, like, I have not played this game. Like, I don't want to put out that impression, but
Dude.
I tried. I tried watching cutscenes. No.
Yeah,
What do
even
you-
just the
Absolutely not.
beginning. Oh my god, just even
The beginnings.
Dude, when
Oh.
she pulls out the axe, you're like, oh my. It's like,
I'm more talking about the chainsaw. What are you?
Resident Evil 7?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about when you first find your wife.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the
That,
game.
Oh yeah.
well, I mean that
Did she-
the finding the wife part lasts a while. So.
Yeah, but when you first finally,
Oh yes.
see that she's fucked up.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene at all.
Yeah, she like cuts off her
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
With
That's
the
the
axe?
part.
Stabs you in the hand with the screwdriver.
Yeah, I didn't think that was gonna happen. I was like, oh, all right, she just had, and then she cuts it off. I was like, what the?
you have to, like, you put your hand in your inventory.
Yeah, I was like, what
Wait.
the heck? Are you-
You put your own hand in your inventory?
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
And then you
Oh.
heal it. You heal it by just pouring that elixir on it.
I was like, holy
Well,
crap.
Is now a good time to mention that this game also comes in VR?
Yeah. It
Oh, I
does.
knew that. Yeah.
that's good times.
Won Best VR Game at the Game
It
Awards.
doesn't surprise me. I bet that's a freaky VR experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want
this
that.
probably would be the best type of game to play in VR. Honestly.
Yeah.
So, also things in terms of like game development. They originally had a dog for the evil crazy family named Diane, which is a weird name for a dog, but thank God, because I don't want some creepy ass dog. That's like,
What was going to be the point of it?
I don't know. I couldn't find much beyond that,
Oh,
other than
okay.
that's their evil dog.
I was like, is it going to be like, what sort of monstrous things would an evil dog in this family do?
It plays fetch with your hand.
If I remember correctly, that family was a normal family too, right? Until they got
Yeah, they got
and went
infected.
Yeah.
Yep, it was just a Baker family, and they get infected.
I mean, they were
So-
still dirty. Let's
Let's
Yeah.
get into the story in a second. The other thing, game developing wise, is they had a hold your breath feature, like when you're hiding, and you had an oxygen bar, and you had to like hold a button,
Oh, that would've
and
been
like
so
you stop
cool.
breathing.
Yeah, that would have been.
But they stopped it because during game testing, people who were playing actually held their own breath, and they didn't want any lawsuits. So they're like, okay, we'll get rid of that.
Oh man, that'd been cool, especially when you're freaking running around from
Wow.
what's the dad's name? I forget his name.
welcome to the
Jack?
family.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, Jack.
Welcome to the family, son.
Yeah, when you're trying to hide
Oh,
from him, if
God,
you have
that
to hold
guy.
your breath. Oh, that is so cool,
when he forces you to shoot him in the head
dude.
at one point just to fuck with you. He's just like, oh God,
That's such a good game.
that was a great moment. Yeah, it was.
So, story. Tell me about this story. It's just like some girl comes and she's like infected with something, and she infects them all. Is that what
Yeah.
happens?
Kind of.
Your wife, I believe, goes missing, and you are mailed some evidence to where her whereabouts might be. So you're following up, and you end up at this house.
Yeah, so his wife, though, he actually gets a message from his wife telling her where she is.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I'm actually here." He's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
you've been missing for like
yeah, you've been
2
gone
years.
for 3 years. Like, what the
Yeah.
heck? Like, you now message me, and then he goes to the place, and find out she's just been basically imprisoned in the basement the whole time.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, sweet, I'm a rescue from these hillbillies. Then it turns out everyone's insane, including her.
Yep.
Yep. Good times.
Essentially the whole story, and then you just kill the family. Like it's you about battling the family, which is really cool. 'Cause I think each
Yeah.
family member gives off a different type of horror.
Yeah.
And locally, people have been going missing around this family, and the number of zombies correlates to how many people they kidnapped.
Yeah.
Math works.
I
out.
remember I almost got sick when I saw the food they were
Oh,
eating.
dude.
No.
When you come out of like the trend, you're like, oh, what did they eat?
Is it like moldy food?
Yeah,
like,
it's like
It looks like
moldy.
organs.
It's like
and
moldy,
stuff.
and there's like it's maggots and stuff.
Oh God.
Like there's a dead
And
bird
then
in the fridge.
and then they feed you some
Yep.
of it.
Yep.
Mm.
And you vomit.
You do.
Yeah.
You do vomit.
I mean, good. Otherwise you'll
So
die, right?
if you have a
stuff.
weak constitution for vomiting scenes, might be the time to look away.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever play this game. It sounds so cool, but
It's such a good.
It's
It's
very
such a good
good.
return to form.
Yeah.
the last thing I want to mention was that the executive producer Koshi Nakanishi enjoyed like games that came around before this, like Amnesia and Outlast, but he hated how like you had like a camera or like that's it. Like he wanted you to be able to like fight back with like guns
Yeah.
and stuff.
Do you know, was this game at all inspired by PT?
I
don't
mean,
know.
I couldn't find anything, but you
I
have
feel
to
like-
think so, right? Like,
The-
I feel like certain aspects remind me a lot of it because PT had already come out.
let me check the year.
The
PT
But-
look
I
of
wanna
the
say
mom
2016.
definitely reminds me of the woman ghost
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
from
don't.
PT. So
Yeah, I don't have any sort of
Yeah,
specific
going to first
confirmation of
person
that.
like PT was.
Yeah,
That's fair. PT came out in 2014, so that was 3 years before it came out. I could see that happening. And
presumably it was already in development, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's 5 years in between 6 and 7, 2012 and 2017, and they did have an original version of this game that was more like old style, where it was kind of like 6, and they're like, you know what, scrap it, we got to do something new. And then so they might have seen PT and go, oh, you know,
maybe.
Like,
Maybe.
they could be.
What was PT? Sorry.
That's a great question. Devontae, I feel like he'd better explain
It's
that
a
to me.
predecessor to the Silent Hill games that who was gonna make it?
Hideo Kojima
Hideo
and,
Kojima.
Yeah.
and
Kon-
what's his
Konami
face,
fucked
the
up.
director.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Guillermo
Morita is gonna
del
be
Toro.
the main character.
Yeah.
It was basically like how the Silent Hill
Gotcha.
games were gonna come back into fruition because they kind of died out.
yeah.
And-
And then Konami took a huge dump on it.
Yep.
Yeah, they really screwed that man over. Good thing that he's still going on doing his own thing. But
In great news, though, Kojima is in talks with Junji Ito, a horror mangaka,
Yep.
who did a bunch of the artwork and character designs for what was going to be the Silent Hills game, and probably PT. They're in talks to do a horror game together.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of what this PT thing was, Joe, or Spaghetti Scout,
Mhm.
sorry. Basically, you were stuck in an endless loop, and you did things in order to get yourself out of a loop. And
An
depending on
endless
what,
hallway loop.
yes, and what you did
Oh.
sent you to just different levels of horror, really, because it was terrifying.
With like the hallway decaying, and you'd hear like screaming, and then you'd like get locked in a bathroom, and occasionally you'd see like a silhouette of a woman, or like you'd hear
Or a dead
occasionally
fetus.
you could get killed too. Like if occasionally like if a window broke, if you walked too close to the window, you'd get killed by a
Oh,
woman,
no.
or if you at one point someone says to you like, "Don't look behind you," but if you choose to look behind you, she'd kill you.
Oh,
And I think
jeez.
you can't talk about this without talking about how like it just dropped one day. It was just like, hey, this thing's
Yeah,
got
just
PT.
here.
And then you get
And
you
then
get to
if
the
you
end, and you're like, wait,
You beat it. It's
Silent
just
Hill?
a trailer for the game.
Yeah.
It's a playable.
Wow.
PT stands for playable trailer.
Oh, okay.
It was the perfect way to get people hyped for a game, and then it just fell off the map.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell that happened, considering the hype was real. Like you could physically see people being excited for this, and then they're like, "Oh, well, it doesn't look like it's gonna do well."
Because Konami's not a good company,
Yes.
or at least not run by good
Yeah,
people.
it's not run very well.
Yeah,
They also had like disagreements with Hideo. So
yeah.
All right, so we're getting back to Resident Evil. That was 7, and then recently, 2019, they put out Resident Evil 2 Remake, and then this year they put out Resident Evil 3 Remake. And while 3 got some pretty good reviews, 2 got a lot of good reviews. People have been saying good stuff.
They were both very successful games too, if I remember.
Yeah.
yes.
Everybody was buying them up.
2 is definitely better than 3, but both are very good.
Now, Joey, you have been playing 2, right? So,
Yeah, I'm currently in the process.
and the last game you played was 4, right? So skipping out,
Yeah, which is a long time
skipping
ago.
out on the downfall and also returning rise of 6 and 7 and all that. What's your opinion of 2?
I love it so far. I mean, it's great, and since I don't play like a ton of modern video games, like the graphics are absolutely stunning to me, which makes it even more terrifying. So, it's awesome. But yeah, I love this game, and I can't wait to keep going with it. I mean, I don't mind if you guys spoil it. Obviously, I think that's something that's going to happen when we talk about it anyway.
What's the name
it's a
of
fantastic
the
game.
guy that follows you around it too? Mr. X or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy became like iconic for a little while after the re-release, just because the amount of memes I saw about him, and I remember I saw a video at one point that replaced the music that it plays with "X Gonna Give It to You," and then I saw one that just replaced him entirely with the goose from Untitled Goose Game.
That was hilarious.
He's like breaking down a wall and he's like running away. And it's like quack, quack.
Yeah.
I think I saw one with Thomas the Tank Engine too. It's
Oh,
just
God.
his face coming in from like a hole in the wall.
Well, Thomas has just become a big mod thing
He's
ever
in
since
Skyrim.
Skyrim because of especially after he became more popular because of Video Game Donkey.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point.
Same thing
We
with
do a whole episode
Macho
on
Man
him.
Randy Savage. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But so 2 had like Mr. X, and then 3 has that Nemesis dude, which was apparently based on the T-1000 from Terminator. Just like the
Makes
whole
total
sense.
Yeah, that
sense.
makes sense.
He's chasing after me, man.
And is utterly unstoppable.
And maybe I missed it, but what is he? Is he just like a perfected version of what the virus should do?
Yeah, so he's like Umbrella's like super soldier to get rid of Stars because Stars was messing up their plans, mate, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
What up?
I was just gonna say 3 starts off with Jill. I think it's after 1 when she's in her apartment, and then it basically shows that Nemesis is programmed, I guess, essentially to go kill off the remaining Stars. I guess employees that survived the original outbreak, so they don't mess with Umbrella.
I keep seeing stuff that like called like him and other like big things like tyrants, and that's why it's called T-virus. Is that kind of where that all is going, or?
Yeah, so Tyrant was the original one from the first Resident Evil. That's the main bad guy who with the big old claw, and he's basically naked. He was the main one, but I think that's probably where it comes from, like the T-virus, Tyrant virus. That would make sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get you. Anything last on 2 and 3?
I think 2, the 2019 is the best Resident Evil game they made.
Oh, that's a big claim.
Damn.
Even above 7 and all that?
Yeah.
Why? What's so good about it?
I just like the gameplay. I mean, not that 7 was bad. 7 is definitely more of a horror game, I would say. One that's good, like if you want to be scared the whole time. But I think 2 perfected what Resident Evil originally was a puzzle game with horror in it as well.
And survival.
Yeah, and a survival. Because I think Resident Evil 7 is more towards the horror aspect, and it's like you still have some puzzle aspects, but this one is mainly to show you the different types of horror that is, whether it's like psychological, like slasher, and all that stuff. So I think 2 just went back to its roots and perfected the gameplay, and you can be scared while you're trying to figure out the puzzles in the game. And
That makes sense.
Neon's cool, so.
Yeah, everybody likes
Yeah.
Leon. Also, was that on his first day as a cop?
Yes.
Yeah. And he still goes there and like suits up. I'm like,
Dude, and then by the
I would have turned around as soon as I got to that gas station. I'd be like,
Yeah, I was like, not again. Like, nope, not today.
Yeah.
But I love that they start the game off that way, where you start off at the gas station, and it's just like, here's a good tutorial about what this game's gonna be.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. This game is freaky.
And it's
I get legitimately upset when certain doors open because I'm like, I don't want to go in there, man. Like, just be locked. Like,
that's the
Joey,
point.
would
It's
you-
doing its job.
Would you be okay if you gave us some updates and we put that out on Twitter of how you're feeling about the Resident Evil 2? You could tell us your
Sure.
emotions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Also,
fun.
quick question: do you have anyone watching you while you play? Joe? Does your sister sometimes?
Yeah, my sister is sometimes around, and she gets really freaked out by it and doesn't like it in general.
So you heard
And,
it here. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. This game is great background material. You can just watch it and still be scared.
Yeah, and she always tells me I'm gonna die. She's like, "Why did you do that? Now you're gonna die." And I'm like, "Listen, I don't know what to do." Like,
Joey's stress levels have been through the roof.
yeah.
All right, so that's all the present stuff that's going on. They just put those, 3 out and all that. But in the future, we just recently got the Village or Resident Evil 8 trailer at the PS5 event back in June. There's werewolves, folk legends, old guys with shotguns. Chris Redfield just got another facial reconstructive surgery. Like,
Yep. And he's
this game
thin
is going
again.
somewhere.
He's thin.
He's ready to punch some more boulders. And the trailer starts off with the phrase, "His story comes to a close." And it's like, is that Ethan, the guy from 7 that's coming back in this? Or is that Chris?
I'm
knows?
thinking it's Chris because they introduced Blue Umbrella at the end of 7, which is like, all right, now Chris runs Blue Umbrella. That seems a little fishy to me, but whatever.
Are they supposed to be good? Like, did you just take it? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's taken like a swastika. I know the swastika was originally good, but like that's like taking like, no, it's good now. It's like, why would you pick that logo? You
Yeah.
can name yourself anything
So
else.
it was like, all right, no, because I mean, in the trailer it shows Chris basically going bad in the trailer because Ethan's like, "What the fuck, Chris?" And I think it's because Blue Umbrella is actually like you said, umbrella, but a different color.
It's a weird choice.
It's
weird
just a
choice
different
for sure.
division. It's okay. Umbrella's the parent company. Blue Umbrella's the child.
Ran by Chris, right?
So, story-wise, I found a Game Rant article that was, how I was talking about all those different versions of Resident Evil 4, and one of them had like hallucinations and stuff.
Okay.
A lot
Yeah.
of people have been saying that this might be based on that, like those influences and like that build of 4, where there's like hallucinations and there's weird shit going on. It's set in Europe. I mean, the werewolves are new, or whatever those things are. And then like there's a lot of talk about like some baby that Ethan and Mia have that's supposed to have like a mold virus from the 7th one. I'm confused a little bit, but
From all the food.
yeah, that's food baby. Yeah. But it looks good. It looks interesting. There's like witches and stuff. So I think that was everything I had about 8. So big questions wise, what would make 8 good and what would make 8 bad?
I would say for 8, I would focus more on like the type of gameplay you get from Resident Evil 2, with a decent balance between the action and the horror. Make it feel like you need to save your bullets a little bit and things like that. Just don't go full shooter.
Yeah, that's the scary part with Chris coming back into.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they don't go full shooter. I mean, I would even prefer if it was just like a continuation of the gameplay of 7, when it's like you basically have to think your way through the house. So what I'm assuming Chris is going to introduce the werewolves. Maybe that's the big baddie that's going to chase you through the village itself, and you have to hide from it at times while trying to figure out puzzles. That'd be pretty cool. Trying to figure out how to kill it at the same time and to deal with Chris. Maybe Chris is the werewolf. Who knows?
They
Ooh.
need to introduce this breath mechanic that was mentioned earlier.
That would be
needs
cool
to-
if they brought it back.
Yeah,
It's a really cool idea. You got to give it that.
it's fantastic.
I have no answer myself, but I found a Game Rant article that was like, you should tie it back to other games and have less backtracking, and actually give Chris character development. They said that he always kind of starts games over like full of guilt and uncomfortable with his shortcomings, and then like he just repeats that in a lot of games.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
It's true.
So what do you want past 8? 8's coming out probably next year. Is a Resident 4 remake, like Resident Evil 4 remake, possible? Is that going to be what's coming?
I think so. I mean, Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes sold so well, I just don't see why they wouldn't financially. And Resident Evil 4 is probably due for some visual upgrades, at the very least.
Yeah.
Grant,
like
it
a-
has been ported a lot, though.
It has, but
Yeah, people will still buy it. If it was literally the same exact game, but with the graphics of 2 and 3, it would sell like crazy.
I would give it a shot. I don't know. Now that you mentioned those roach people, I might not.
I don't know. The chainsaw dudes and good graphics. I've shot myself.
Chainsaw dudes.
Fuck that.
The little scorpion guys.
Wait, scorpion people too?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I don't know.
Remember the little prince guy?
Oh, Salazar?
Yeah.
Dude, he was supposed to be like 20 years old.
The little like Lord Farquaad. Like
Yeah. Looks like an old man, but he's actually only 20 years old.
yeah.
That makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Last question I got for you guys. Other than Chris Redfield punching apart a boulder in a volcano, what has been your favorite moments in the franchise?
For me personally, I'm gonna go with Jack making you shoot him in the head. That just made me I instantly was scared as hell by it, and just because I knew that couldn't be it for him, but it deepened the mystery of how powerful this family was.
This is the dad in 7?
Yeah.
Yes, and increased the tension big time.
Yeah, it does sound pretty creepy. It's I want you to shoot me in the head, and it's might not kill him.
Well, no, he grabs your hand and shoves the gun,
Oh.
Yeah.
and then he pulls the trigger with your hand on it.
Oh, I don't like that.
Nor should you.
It did its goal. Creep me out.
I don't know what would be my favorite. I think it might be in just the opening of Resident Evil 2. Just because it brings back homage to everything when you enter the gas station and if you played the games, you know what the heck is going on. But if you never played the games, you're just walking in there okay, this is weird. People, you hear banging on the door and people screaming for help and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And then, it basically shows the start of the outbreak in Raccoon City. And it looks pretty too, so I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Draws you in.
I would totally agree with Devontae. That was what I was going to say.
Mine is very minute compared to all those. In the first Resident Evil, I played a remastered version on GameCube, and I would say the first time I encountered dogs, because dogs in these games fuck you up. It doesn't matter which one you're playing. Dogs fuck you up in the Resident Evil suit.
It's a good thing they cut Diane. Yeah, I although I've never played it, I'm gonna go with the leech attack on the train in the Resident Evils. All right, we good to wrap up Resident Evil for now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to say,
maybe
poor Leon's been through a whole lot. Just God
No,
bless.
too much.
Poor Leon.
That
Yeah.
man,
What if
I don't know
he's the
how he
werewolf?
sleeps.
I can't wait till they introduce mummies.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd be up for it.
Maybe we'll do an episode again when 8 comes out or something. We'll see. But for now, we're on social media. Let us know what you thought. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that. We're in the description below. You can follow us there. You'll also find links to some of the stuff that we talked about. We are working on streaming, and I know we've been saying that, but today I think it's fair to announce that we're going to be doing Resident Evil 2 as our first streamed game. And you can see Pat, at least I know Pat and I will be screaming our heads off and terrified. But he'll be the one playing, so I don't have to look. We got the Harry Potter finale coming up, and we're getting really close to our first year anniversary special episode. That's gonna be something special, so look for that. We still got our listen goals, 40 listens, and we'll get drunk on an episode, 20 subscriptions on YouTube, and we'll do a video episode. So if you like this, share with some friends. If you didn't, tell us why, and we'll keep working on making great content for you guys. But thank you so much for listening. And Tom, what are they going to hear about next time?
Next week, they're going to hear about the cooking challenge that I have. I'm going to be preparing meals based on the Baker family's food from Resident Evil 7, and our local spaghetti scout here will be ranking them, doing an impersonation as Gordon Ramsay. So tune in next time.
That's the second death threat about Joey in this episode. That's going to kill him.
Yeah. It's all right. If you remember, the mob's going to do it anyway, so.
Yep.
All right, so this has been our last episode with Joey, but for now.
Now we're going to hit pause.